Just a reminder before today's programme that if you missed the previous instalment of the Ident Review Extra, it can still be viewed here on the channel, and in that one we went to outer space to take a look at the moon ident. And now, here on AMTV, time for another instalment of the Ident Review Extra, and this time we're looking at the fall of the Berlin Wall. Hello, and welcome to the Ident Review Extra, the spin-off show that takes a look at one individual ident each episode and gives it the review it deserves. And today we continue our marathon through the BBC2 idents of the 1990s. Today in our BBC2 journey, we look at an ident that, like War and Peace before it, has some very strong connotations behind it. For a bit of context, in August of 1961, the Berlin Wall was built, separating what was then East and West Germany. 28 years later, in November of 1989, that wall was torn down, symbolising the beginning of the end of communism in Europe. 5 years later, in October of 1994, BBC2 began a series of special programmes under the banner of Tales from Berlin. To match this new season, like they did with special programmes in the past, a brand new ident was made to represent it. So I introduce to you now, Berlin Wall.
November the 9th marks the 5th anniversary of the fall of the Berlin Wall and the ensuing collapse of communism in Eastern Europe. The first in our Tales from Berlin season, now on BBC2, tells the story of the wall itself and the people it divided.
Quite a graceful ident really, isn't it? We see part of the infamous wall ready for removal, and when it's swiftly removed, it is revealed that it's in the sharp, familiar shape of the two. I must say, watching it get removed is quite a satisfying watch. It's very clean and swift and doesn't feel jagged in any way. Looking at the final picture, a warm blue accompanying the empty spot the two has left, contrasts really nicely with the rest of the wall image, predominantly grey, but with spatterings of colour left from wall art and graffiti, a common occurrence on the wall both during and after its installation. Similar to how the War and Peace ident respectfully commemorated those who served in the two world wars in a subtle and respectful manner, this sequence also respectfully shows off the Berlin Wall, its slow road to coming down, and how people treated it throughout its life. It's not promoting one agenda or another forcefully, but it's a good example to show audiences. As 5 years after the wall came down, it reminds people just how much the structure impacted the lives of millions across Germany. As I mentioned earlier, this ident was specially made for the Tales from Berlin season that aired in late 1994. After that particular season, despite it being one of the smoothest and more interesting of special idents, Berlin Wall was never to be seen again on BBC2. I'm quite surprised that they never brought it out of retirement for similar programming, either focusing on that era of Germany or indeed about the Berlin Wall itself. It would have been a joy had it been given a HD touch-up when the 90s 2 returned in mid-2010s, but alas, for the time being, Berlin Wall will be remembered as a special one-off that reminded people of the imposing structure that kept Germany divided for nearly 30 years. And so we've come to the end, but before we go, the final words from our broadcaster. That was the Ident Review Extra. We hope you enjoyed, and that you'll tune in next time. Keep an eye on the community tab and the Sunday catch-up for further news about this programme, as well as others here on AMTV. But until then, have a good week, and we hope that you'll join us again soon. Good night.